Hey guys and gals, welcome back to another Vinny Built Structures video. This is going to be about drape cement plant number 6. It's going to be on the electrostatic precipitator. I love that word. Anyhow, just to make my intro short, we'll get right into the video. So stay tuned and we'll be right back. Alright guys, we're going to get going on number 6 by starting with some more elevators. Now, when I did my last one, I showed you that I kit bashed this little guy. Anyhow, I don't have any more to kit bash, so I need to make my own. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start cutting out my pieces like this. And as you can see, I'm using another piece of scrap. Never throw your scraps away, you never know what you could use them for. Anyhow, what I did was I traced this over this, and when I cut it out, I will cut it on the inside of the line. And then once that's cut out, I'm going to use this as a spacer. I think this is number 189, and it'll give me the correct width to match the elevator legs. So let me go ahead and get going with this, and when I get it cut out and put together, I'll bring you back. So stay tuned, and we'll be back shortly. Alright guys, now that all my pieces have been cut out, I did block it up with the number 189 strip styrene. That's just to give me a base, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and wrap it with 5000 styrene to give it a nice clean finish. And then when I'm finished with that, I'm going to add some of my bracing on there like I've done on other builds. Also, we've also got this guy ready to go. Just finished him this morning. And I don't know what that is. Oh, okay. In order for me to get this height, I had to join two pieces together. Just my way of being frugal rather than going out and spend money. And of course, there'll be another walkway up here, just as the other one had, and then ladders. All the conveyors will get ladders. All right, guys. This is the completed number 4 elevator. As you can see, I've got my head all built up, and I got all my ribbing and supports and bracing on there. Still need to make the platform for up here. And like I had mentioned, every one of these elevators that I build will get ladders. As far as safety cages, that's another story. I think I mentioned that I might try and build one at a later time. But anyhow, so that's complete. Just needs to get paint. The next thing, like I showed you earlier, is I was going to use these two guys for the electrostatic precipitator structure. Anyhow, I already went ahead and I closed up that hole and closed up that hole because there'll be piping and such and stuff going to that. This also sits on a table, so the table I'm going to do is picture shows a concrete structure, so I already got my pieces cut out, and that's the next thing I'm going to work on. We need to get this up in the air. Now also, the prototype has another building that sits on top of here. I don't know if I'm going to do that yet. Like I said, everything is not too clear in the pictures that I've got, so I got to keep on doing some more research. Anyhow, stay tuned, and we're going to go ahead and get started on this guy and this guy. We'll be back shortly. Alright guys, I went ahead and joined these two together, and when it's all cured I will put a molding around there, and for that I'm probably going to use this number 122 and just put them across the crack or the seam just like that, and it'll hide the seam. Anyhow, while I'm waiting for this to cure up, I'm going to start doing the basic foundation. And for this, I'm using the number 177 styrene strips. These right here are 15 feet tall, and total length of this building is going to be 44 feet. And I don't remember what the, let's see, and I'll be using a piece of scrap for sale sign for the floor. And this guy is 27 feet wide. So anyhow, I'm going to go ahead and get this going. It's basically just gluing a bunch of parts together, and we'll see how this turns out. So stay tuned and we'll be right back. Alright guys, we're going to start by attaching the legs to the length beams. And these actually scale out to be 2 scale feet width. So I'm going to be using the help of my, my little square here. And I'm going to go ahead and put these guys together. And I know it's probably going to stick to the glass, but it will come right up because it is glass. Anyhow, I'll let that dry up for a bit, and then I'll flip the square over and do the other side. So stay tuned and we'll be right back. Alright guys, now I have both of my length legs done. I'm going to be adding my cross beams here, and again I'm going to be using my square. And I also have this guy taped down so least amount of movement, and I push it tight up against here. And sometimes it works and sometimes it don't. I just need to be gentle with it, that's all. So I'm just going to go ahead and add a bit of glue on the end here and put this in here and let it cure up, and then I will reverse it and do the other side. And I'll bring it back when this is done and the floor is on. So stay tuned and we'll be back shortly. Alright guys, what you're looking at here now is the table that the electrostatic precipitator is going to be sitting on. And in case you want to know what that hole is for, that'll be for a ducting that will go down and under the table and out to a smokestack. Anyhow, I did complete this guy. As you can see, I blocked off a couple of the holes that were there. I followed the same pattern as far as the X bracing, and then here's the other side. And so what's going to happen is when this is sitting on a table like that, there'll be an exhaust ducting that comes out here, goes down, out, and up to a chimney or a smokestack, whatever you want to call it. Anyhow, to make the ductwork, what I did was I took some tubing, some square tubing, and cut on a 45, and I cut the matching piece on a 45, and I put this little guy in here so I have a really good gluing surface. And then when I put it in there, I get that. And then this guy will sit in here like this. And again, with this one here, I did the same thing. I put a tube inside the tube so I have a good gluing surface, and it'll go down here. The length still needs to be determined because the silo and the smokestack sit right about here. So anyhow, I'm going to continue with this. Probably going to paint this with aluminum. I'm not sure yet, but there's also a little shack that goes on top, and I had originally built this guy, but I'm going to cut him down to fit on top of here like I see in the prototype. Anyhow, stay tuned and we'll get back to this and show you what's going on. Be back soon. Alright guys, this is my exhaust ducting that's going to go to this building right here. As you can see, I put all my ribbing on there as I've been doing all along in this build. I also did the same thing here at the bottom. I cut a notch out at the bottom, and I put a smaller tube inside of the larger tube, and that gives me a place to secure this, and I don't have to glue it. First of all, I can't glue it because I won't be able to get it into the hole. So that's why it's got to be 2 pieces. So this guy's going to fit in here like this, just like this. And I did have to make the hole a bit bigger because of the ribbing that I put on there. Anyhow, this guy will fit into there like that. And then the smokestack is going to be this guy right here. It's 3/8 inch tubing, and I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see this, but I did groove out the with a round file. I grooved out the ducting with a round file so it fits very nicely on the smokestack. The smokestack is going to get some special treatments also, which I will go over in a few minutes. But I also did build up my little building that's going to go on top here, just like the prototype. And so now all I need to do is put that together, and then we'll get going on the smokestack part. So anyhow, stay tuned and we'll be right back. Alright guys, the next step on this scene that I'm doing for the cement plant is going to be building a hopper. And this hopper is nothing more than just a couple of angles and some siding and da-da-da down here on the bottom, and I will put a pipe down here. This will mount under the table like so. Get a good shot of this, and it will take all the waste products from this guy and send it out to somewhere, which I still have to do more research to see where it's got to go to. But anyhow, the hopper is going to get some of my bracing that I've been doing throughout this build. As you can see, I've already got some lines drawn in there, and I will do that, and then once that is done, all of this is ready to be painted. The silo itself will be painted concrete. I'm going to change the color of the table to concrete, and then everything else will get gray. So stay tuned and we'll get some of this stuff going, and I'll bring it back when some of it is done. Alright guys, a few more pictures here. This right here is the smokestack that is part of the area that I'm doing right now. And if you can notice, it's got this little snake type thing up at the top here, and I intend to replicate that. So what I'm going to do is back this out a bit so you can see. Take my 3/8 inch tube. This is from Evergreen Models, and this is right here half round. Let me get this down a bit so I don't have to stretch so far. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to twist this up like this, and when it gets to the top, I'm going to end it with a full circle. Anyhow, I'm going to go ahead and do this, and I'll bring you back when this is painted and finished basically. So anyhow, stay tuned and we'll be back shortly. Alright guys, what you're looking at now are my painted components for this part of the build. I painted these with aged concrete, and I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see this in here, but I put some scratches in there just to emulate a little bit of the roughness that concrete has. So that guy is painted, and then here's my smokestack. And I told you that I had these guys up here. The next thing for me to do right now is I'm going to mask this off, and I'm going to paint the snake. I'm going to call it a snake because that's what it looks like. I'm going to paint that black. Anyhow, there'll be also 3 of these guys on here, and they'll be spaced out evenly with ladders going up and down. And I had to, let's see if you can see this, I had to arch the platform because it will get attached to the silo as per the picture I have. Anyhow, we're moving on. There'll be 3 of those on this smokestack. Moving on, the table is also painted with the aged concrete, and I didn't show you guys this earlier, but from what I understand, and don't hold me to all of this stuff, this guy here separates the good stuff from the bad stuff. The bad stuff goes down to a hopper. The hopper will be mounted under the table like this. And at this point, I don't know where it goes out to. When I find out, I will know, and I will fix it accordingly. This is temporary in here. I can just pull these out in case I need to have a conveyor coming out of there or whatever. Anyhow, my little stack dealie here that I told you I was going to do, and it does come apart, so I could stick it through the floor here, and it will get attached to the bottom of the smokestack. And I also arched this guy out to get a real nice close fit against the smokestack. Anyhow, I'm going to go ahead and mock all of this stuff up after I paint these and put handrails on them and get them into position. I will mock all of this up, and I'll show you what this side of the cement plant's going to look like. So stay tuned and we'll be right back. Alright guys, this is a mock-up of the two videos. The previous video, which was this guy here, which is the preheater towers, and this here is what I just completed yesterday. This is the electrostatic precipitator, and here's my smokestack with my little snake up on the top there, just as in a prototype. I still need to add the walkways. Unfortunately, I ran out of yellow paint, so I need to pick some of that up today. Anyhow, this is coming along slowly, and like I said, I'm going to build this on very loose basis until I can figure out more of how the material travels around the cement plant. I'm hoping that maybe I can get a tour of the place. Anyhow, to get a little further along here, there'll be another open grid structure that goes back here and another open grid structure that goes here. This is what I can see so far as incoming material, and there'll be another conveyor in the back. Of course, this is just a mock-up right here. Anyhow, I hope you guys enjoyed this number 5 or 6 or whatever it is. I'm losing track, fellas. Anyhow, the next project I'm going to be doing in the next video will be a stairwell for this guy right here. So stay tuned for that. And as always, your questions, comments, subs, input, likes, and shares are always welcome. For now, that's all folks. BNSF 6951 out.